welcome to InfoHub Recap. We look back at the past week's main issues. In our headlines, President Granger is in Cuba for medical investigation. Waweta Women's Agro-Processors Group opened Farine Factory. 3 friends got a new pump and the Children's Court opens. These stories and much more in this week's InfoHub Recap. First, we begin with the news that local government elections, LGE, will be held on November 12. Minister of State Joseph Harmon says LGE is essential to local democracy and ensuring one Guyana. Paul McAdam was at a community outreach in Arakaca Region 1 with the minister over the weekend and filed this report.
The minister said the importance of local government elections must never be underestimated. He was on an outreach visit to Arakaca in Barima Waini Region 1 over the weekend. He reminded that the former administration delayed the constitutionally due elections, a move which President David Granger has since corrected.
And as our president said, he's not going to postpone or call off any elections when they become due. And so we become a regular democratic country where we can look forward to changes of leadership at the local level and at the national level when they become due. So on the 12th of November, you will have an opportunity to vote for the people who you want to run the affairs of your community.
The minister emphasized that local government elections means communities are governing themselves with the support of central government.
You can't sit in Georgetown and understand what the condition of the road is between Matthews Ridge and Arakaca. You got to drive on it when the rain falls in. So you understand the holes and all these things that people got to go through and the hardship that they face trying to get things done as a community. That is what local government is all about, understanding your communities. We don't believe that staying in Georgetown you can run everything. In fact, it is our belief that the more we decentralize government services, it is the better for all of us.
He noted that several vital services are also being decentralized as part of this process.
We are now decentralizing the issuance of passports, birth certificates, and so on. We are setting up these centers all across the country. So you don't have to leave Region 1 to go all the way to Georgetown to get that done. It can be done right there in your region. We are decentralizing. In fact, the Commissioner of Police has said it already. We are restructuring the way the police is organized.
From Arakaca in Region 1, Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
GTT's Pinktober concluded with a dinner and gala hosted on Sunday evening that honored cancer survivors. Minister of Public Health Waldo Lawrence encouraged GTT and its partners to spread their cancer awareness message to persons beyond Georgetown and the coast.
In moving forward, I would like to see us taking our message to them, educating them, and apprising them of the services that are free of cost, either by the government or the NGOs.
GTT concluded Pinktober, a month of activities in observance of breast cancer awareness, with a dinner and gala at the Marriott Hotel. Minister Lawrence reiterated that early screening is critical to beating cancer. The government, through her ministry, has prioritized citizens' welfare.
Our new oncology department has its doors open and ready to help take care of you. We at the ministry are trying to make available medication, which is quite expensive, but which has proven to be highly effective in treating HER2, one of the hormones responsible for breast cancer.
GTT CEO Justin Ned said the aim of Pinktober is to ensure a healthy society while raising funds for cancer treatment and prevention.
So ultimately, with our partners, many of them in attendance tonight, we intend to raise $100 million every year for awareness and for the oncology department, because we need a healthy society.
At the gala, several cancer warriors were honored, including Minister Lawrence. Pinktober was observed under the theme, Together We Can Make a Difference. For InfoHub, Delicia Haynes. In news from Region 9, the Waweta Women's Agro-Processors Group has officially dedicated their farine processing factory in the North Rupununi as part of Agriculture Month celebrations. Seneca Thorne tells us more.
The Farine Factory project started in 2015 and was funded by the Canadian government with support from the Government of Guyana and other partners. It was executed under the title Empowering the Women of Owetta to mitigate threats of food security resulting from droughts, flooding, wildfire, and extreme climate change. At the dedication ceremony at the Wawetta Village, Benab, Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs Sidney Alicock said that the community is leading the way in women empowerment in the Rupununi region.
Women power, and you're leading in this for our region. It means, therefore, that the other communities do not have to reinvent the wheel, but just learn from an example that is here today.
Agriculture Minister Noel Holder underscored the importance of value-added products. He assured the WIMETS group that the Guyana Marketing Corporation will purchase their produce.
As you know, securing markets for the surplus is important. I therefore undertake to reassure you that the Guyana Marketing Corporation will continue along the lines of the Farina Fiesta of 2017 to spread awareness of the uses of farine with the aim to generate greater demand. I must note your farine is in the Guyana shop and the Guyana shop corners around the country. And I look forward to seeing more high-value products.
Chairperson of the Wawetta Women's Group, Priscilla Torres, described the factory as a significant achievement.
In 2008, we held a meeting with the village council where we wanted to see how best we could create something for the women of Wawetta, because during that time we had a lot of women that was actually migrated to Brazil in search of jobs. It was really difficult for us at that time to convince the people within this community to actually see that we can do something as women of this community. And indeed, for now, as we sit here, we can see that our dreams have come true.
The project has provided jobs for 21 women who benefited from training in business management, food handlers, customer care, and maintenance. The registered business was certified by the Food and Drug Department of the Ministry of Public Health. Seneca Thorne, InfoHub.
Delicia Haynes now tells us that the Ministry of Social Protection launched its Blue Resources campaign to intensify counter-trafficking in persons efforts.
The aim of the campaign is to ensure the message of combating trafficking in persons reaches all communities. Pamphlets, flyers, pens, T-shirts, keyrings, among other items bearing the color blue were prepared to help raise awareness and let persons know help is available. Minister within the Ministry of Social Protection with responsibility for labor, Keith Scott, explained even as there is enacted legislation to tackle the scourge of TIP, it is necessary to go beyond these efforts. He added, this recommitted effort is significant in combating modern-day slavery.
In 1838, African slavery was abolished. That was made illegal. In recognition of that fact, our nation normally observes and celebrates that every year under the name of emancipation. Yet, however, 180 years after emancipation, we are still today engaged in a fight against slavery. We call it today modern slavery.
To this end, the CTIP unit of the ministry has launched a series of new initiatives and supporting campaigns, including the training of wardens, foreign affairs officers, geology and mines officers, community policing groups, and senior teachers.
We also conducted school awareness drives, civil society awareness campaign, youth empowerment educational sessions, etc. The unit also implemented 2 new campaigns, namely the Building the Bridge campaign, which focused on parents and helping them to understand the consequences of child exploitation and child labor. That's the one fold of that one. And Bridging the Gap, which is the other arm of the campaign.
Victims of TIP are exploited sexually and for forced labor. For InfoHub, Delicia Haynes.
Students in the East Kanji Berbice area will now have an ease in traversing to school as the government, in collaboration with the Princess Ramada Hotel, commissioned its 29th David G bus. Crystal Stahl was there and filed this report.
The commissioning of the David G. bus is part of the President's 5B initiative. Minister of Social Protection Amna Ali pointed out it is Region 6's 5th David G. bus to be commissioned.
There is not a single region without a David G. bus, boat, or bicycle. So Region 6, we congratulate you. We would like you to take care of this bus. And I must tell you that it is the regional administration of Region 6's responsibility to cater for the driver, for the fuel, and for the maintenance of this bus.
Reminding that the bus is a collaborative effort with private sector donors, Minister Ali commended the management of Princess Ramada Hotel for their continual donations. Casino manager at the hotel, Eric Kanma, said the hotel is elated to be part of the 5B initiative.
This being our second visit to Berbice and third donation of bus in collaboration with the government. Princess Group of Companies is dedicated to contribute and play an active role in the social welfare of all Guyanese. Education is imperative to the development of a nation. Having access to transportation eases the burden from parents and children, which will translate in keeping our children in school.
Teachers and students expressed gratitude for the bus and noted it will ease their means to get into school. To date, 29 buses, 9 boats, and more than 1,200 bicycles have been distributed across the regions as part of the 5B initiative. Reporting for InfoHub, Crystal Stahl.
Students and teachers of Eccles and Tocqueville primary schools are now beneficiaries of 2 new information technology laboratories.
Minister of Education Nicolette Henry said the initiative aims to bridge the gap and provide access to quality education and learning materials.
We also want to ensure that all our students are digitally literate. We also want to ensure that our teachers and our educators have access to resources that are available online. And so this is very important for the transmission of data and information for education.
The minister urged the students to carry the equipment as it helps to further their education. Head of the Management Information System Unit, Yoganand Indar Singh, also urged the teachers to create a plan to foster advanced learning. InfoHub spoke to a few students about the initiative.
I feel proud about my school because all computers are here. You could get to do anything you want, but not destroy them. You could work with them. It could help you with anything you want.
I feel proudly to know that Tocqueville Primary School is one of the 5 schools to have a lab in their school, and I'm glad for them, and we will strive more to excellence.
The 2 labs were constructed at a cost of just over $12 million. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
The government's commitment to irrigation and flood management was on Monday reiterated as the Ministry of Agriculture, through the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, commissioned a pump at Three Friends Village on the Essequibo coast. More from Anira Khan.
Minister of Agriculture Noel Holder told residents of the community that emphasis has been placed on water and flood risk management.
The Ministry of Agriculture, through the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, has been concentrating on water management as a critical area of focus, since the vast majority of the country's agriculture is practiced in the low-lying regions.
The Agriculture Minister remarked that the Three Friends pump was strategically placed to reduce flooding. He reaffirmed the government's plans to reduce the vulnerability of citizens.
As a government, we plan to repair and dredge canals and drainage systems to reduce any vulnerability of our agricultural system due to flooding.
Residents from surrounding communities expressed their gratitude for the pump.
This pump is a great improvement because I'm working on 5-acre ratio that was that back down. When the rainy season come, sometimes for weeks when we try, sometimes for weeks we not see the paddy. And I'm very glad about this pump here today.
I think this pump will do a lot, help me a lot, because for the past many years now, as soon as rainfall, me backyard flood and my fowl pen flood. So I think this is a good work they did here.
This pump will assist the rice farmer in this region a lot. It's especially the cruise by area like for Anna Virginia to get Columbia area.
The facility was commissioned at a cost of $103 million and will benefit some 3,000 cash crop and rice farmers. For InfoHub, Anara Khan.
The government is planning to construct a new 70-mile-long road linking the north and central Rupununi. Seneca Thorne tells us that this will allow farmers and residents to have easier access to markets in Georgetown and Lethem.
The proposed all-weather road will benefit some 3,000 residents and start from ranch entrance at Toko Village in the north Rupununi, stretch all the way to Kwaimata, on to Karinambo, Yupukari, Kotata. It will run through Parishara, Napi, Haiwa, and into Lethem. Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs Sidney Alcock and a team inspected the trail over the weekend. The minister said that it is imperative that government provide the necessary infrastructure for the residents to ply their trade.
It is important, while we ask people to get into farming, get into tourism, get into the other activities, fishing and other development of timber or even mining, and agriculture, both livestock and crops, it is important for us to also work on the development of the infrastructural development in better roads.
Minister Alcock explained that a brand new road will have to be constructed from the Toka to Yupukari entrance, given that the area is swampy. Minor works will have to be done to the other areas.
That used to be the route. But from the main road to cut across to the Yupukari entrance, it's a swampy area, known as the Bununi swamp. That you have to build a road there. But from Yupukari on to Lethem, you have really good laterite surface. So the thinking here is the call for the people within this area to have easier access to markets and to Georgetown and to Lethem.
The project, which is a priority for 2019, joins the list of other interland projects, including the Agriculture Research Center that is to be constructed in the Purara area in Napi. Seneca Thorne, InfoHub.
Isaiah Braffett now reports that a recently held sensitization seminar for Chinese entrepreneurs focused on Ghana's labor laws.
The meeting concentrated on the Termination of Employment and Severance Pay Act, Leave with Pay Act, Minimum Wage Order, Occupational Safety and Health Act, Decent Work as a Philosophy and Practice, and Terms and Conditions of Employment. Minister within the Ministry of Social Protection, Keith Scott, highlighted that many businesses seeking to maximize profits often find themselves in contravention of the labor laws.
We are aware that many businesses of all sorts have felt that non-compliance with the labor laws, trying to duck them, has been what they thought was a way of saving money and making extra profit. I would like to say it is not so. Breaking those laws can affect your success and your continued survival. It is better to be educated in the requirements of our laws and comply with them.
Chief Labor Officer Charles Ogle told the business owners that the Labor Department focuses on protecting the rights of workers. He explained that keeping records of employees are very important.
Record of wages, record of leave. The law says in Section 10 of the Labor Act, all employers must keep a record of wages. Also, under the Leave with Pay Act, Section 8 stipulates that the employer must keep a record of the Leave with Pay Act.
The sensitization of foreign entrepreneurs on Guyana's labor laws is an ongoing countrywide exercise by Ministry of Social Protection's Labor Department. A similar exercise is slated to be conducted with Brazilian business owners soon. Isaiah Braffett for InfoHub.
Local government elections, LGE, will be held on November 12. The Ghana Elections Commission, GCOM, says all stations and staff are in place as the period for the application of proxy voting at the LGE has opened. Here again is Delicia Haynes with that report.
Deputy Chief Election Officer of the Guyana Elections Commission, Roxanne Myers, said returning officers are currently issuing application forms for proxies.
And so right now our returning officers are issuing application forms for proxy. That means there are some categories of people who are not able to be voting on election day. They can vote, have a proxy, a person vote in their stead. In this particular case, the proxy must be living and listed in the same polling station as the person who they would like to vote for them.
The applications will have an investigation phase, following which the approvals will be granted. Chief Election Officer GCOM Keith Lowenfield said the commission is on schedule for the upcoming local government elections.
Currently, we have 1,674 polling stations across the spectrum. As I mentioned to you at the earlier press briefing, we have scenarios in which approximately 272 of those are likely to be private residences, meaning residences owned and operated by Guyanese. At the level of the commission, I did indicate the areas where they're located and asked if there are any comments, meaning negative comments about their own knowledge through their mechanism. I have not received any negatives, so we're moving to confirm at this point in time those locations.
Today, ballot boxes have already been procured from Canada. They arrived on October 22 and are being secured by the Guyana Police Force. GCOM has been extracting ballots for the Discipline Services ranks of the Guyana Police Force, the Guyana Defense Force, and the Guyana Prison Services to vote on November 2. For InfoHub, Delicia Haynes.
On Wednesday, the historic activation of the Children's Court will see no juvenile being sentenced to imprisonment, says Minister of Public Security Kemraj Ramchatan. Isaiah Braffett was there and filed this report.
The Children's Court was opened this morning at the Georgetown Magistrate Court following the passing of the Juvenile Justice Bill back in April. Minister Ramchatan said in the bill there are measures in place to ensure that the court is a last resort for the child. However, should a matter reach to the court, imprisonment for the juvenile is not an option.
We want to get away from imprisonment, so no child or juvenile is to be sentenced to imprisonment. Sentencing serves the purpose of holding juvenile accountable for the offense. What we are trying as best as possible to do is to ensure rehabilitation, education, and reintegration into society.
Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Basil Williams noted that the manner in which we treat our weakest link is a direct reflection of who we are.
There is no more better way for a nation to demonstrate its respect for human dignity than by making appropriate provisions for the protection of its children and for securing their best interests. The establishment of this Children's Court manifests the importance which the Cooperative Republic of Guyana attaches to the principle of the, and I quote, best interests of the child.
Acting Chancellor Madam Justice Janet Cummins Edwards said that the state, being cognizant of the vulnerability of children, has a responsibility to care for them.
Our system envisages that children will be separate from adults. It will ensure that they are subject to meaningful consequences proportionate to the offense and the circumstances, recognizing the juvenile's greater dependency and reduced level of maturity. And it also provides procedural protection to ensure that juveniles are treated fairly and humanely and that their rights are respected and protected.
In 2019, 2 more children's courts are slated to be open, one in Berbice and the other in Essequibo. Isaiah Braffett for InfoHub.
Special getaway packages, restaurant week, and a number of other exciting activities are among those being offered by tourism stakeholders as the Guyana Tourism Authority GTA launches Tourism Awareness Month 2018. Crystal Stull joins us with the details.
Unveiling the calendar of activities at the Duke Lodge Hotel, Director of GTA Brian Mullis said through partnership with the private sector bodies, the agency will provide economical means for locals and foreigners to explore Guyana.
So we've been working with the tourism private sector
on yield management and other pricing strategies so that they can offer some specials. And these specials won't only be available during the month of November. Several of the packages will be available year-round. And as the number of participants on these packages increases, the price per participant decreases.
The GTA will also be launching a Why I Love Guyana campaign for local and foreigners to share their unique experiences at various hotspots. Minister of Business with Responsibility for Tourism, Dominic Gaskin, described this year's Tourism Awareness Month theme as fitting.
Most appropriate. I think the diversity that we want to celebrate and we want visitors, we want to showcase to visitors can be seen right here in this room. We are a diverse people with diverse cultures, diverse cuisine, diverse ethnicities, religions. In terms of sustainability, that is something that has to be managed and has to be promoted. Tourism is not automatically sustainable. Tourists are consumers, and if we want to really increase visitor arrivals and increase tourism in Guyana, we're looking at increasing consumerism in Guyana.
This year's Tourism Awareness Month is being celebrated under the theme Promoting Sustainability and Celebrating Diversity. Reporting for InfoHub, Crystal Stahl.
Minister of Finance Winston Jordan clarified how budgets for constitutional agencies are prepared and what the procedures are.
The minister was responding to a question raised at his press briefing at Parliament today about the expected revenues from initial first oil in 2020.
I'm saying what coming into the coffers, whether you want to call it gross net, what our share will be about 300 million annually. For Liza 1, when it ramps up to 120,000, I forget what is the assumption of the oil price, but I know it's around 300. It probably will be a bit more oil, about $70 a barrel, or about now. So, but I would say, for argument's sake, around 300 million US.
The finance minister cautioned that the funds will be spent carefully and in accordance with proposed legislation intended to govern the use of the Sovereign Wealth Fund.
Remember, when this money comes, it goes into the Natural Resource Fund or our Sovereign Wealth Fund. Okay? So it is not available to the government yet. It will become available, some of it will become available based on the legislation when it's passed, and when that legislation is operationalized, then there are rules of withdrawal from the fund. So at no time will 300 million be available to the government for spending.
Guyana is projected first oil by 2020, and a substantial boost to the local economy is projected. According to the government, other areas of priority include infrastructural development and agricultural, housing and manufacturing sector.
Over 50 bicycles and a boat handed over to students in the Mabaruma sub-district. Seneca Thorne has the details.
The bicycles and boats were presented to the students by Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs Sidney Allicock and the Director of Sport Christopher Jones during an outreach to the Region 1 community on Thursday. This brings it a total of 1,405 bicycles and 10 boats handed over to students across the country under President David Granger's 5B program. Minister Allicock explained that the 5B initiative was in response to the needs identified by the Birima-Waini people and Guyana as a whole.
It is our aim to assist our students in accessing education, because education is the key to success in everything we do. This appropriate education will allow our children to become visionary leaders and entrepreneurs and enable them to use the rich resources that are available right at our fingertips in a progressive and productive way. Hence, we are here today to commission a boat and distribute, well, we have seen the distribution of these bicycles.
Director of Sport Christopher Jones noted the program has positively impacted the lives of thousands of children across the country.
You have children who walk for 1 or 2 hours to get to school. And when they reach the school, they are tired. His Excellency, his President said that in order to bring about that good life for all Guyanese, every child must have the equal opportunity as those on the coastline.
On October 9, Minister of Social Protection Amna Ali commissioned a David G. school bus in East Kanji, Berbice, bringing a total of 29 buses commissioned across the country thus far. Sonika Thorne, InfoHub.
The CHNPA opened applications for its core home support and home improvement subsidy under the Adequate Housing Urban Accessibility Program. Here is Alexis Rodney.
The government-subsidized programs will target families with low affordability who have housing needs. The core home support targets households living on lots valued at $92,000 or less that were regularized or developed by the CHNPA. CHNPA's Deputy Director, Community Development, Donald Bess Bascom, said the program covers areas such as Grove Diamond, East Bank, Demerara, Parfait Harmony and the West Bank of Demerara, and Lebon Intention and the East Coast of Demerara.
For the core home support, we'll be constructing a home that will be no more than 400 square feet, between 330 to 400 square feet. It will be a complete concrete building with a zinc roof, complete with a sanitary block, basic kitchen sink, and will come with the necessary electrical wiring and plumbing fittings.
Once successful, the beneficiaries will pay a total $100,000 for the homes, which will see further subsidy from the government. Bascom said there is a wider reach for the home improvement subsidy program. Applicants who are within the project boundary and are the owners of house lots valued at $92,000 and have a monthly income of $75,000 or less can be beneficiaries of the program. The application process will come to an end on February 1, 2019. Following this, there will be a period for scrutiny, which is expected to last for at least 8 months. CHNPA will start construction immediately after the verification process. Bascom said while applications can be uplifted at the various offices across the regions, they must be returned to the CHNPA's Brickdam office. Reporting for InfoHub, Alexis Rodney.
And finally, on Friday, members of the Ghana Defense Force, Ghana Police Force, Ghana Prison Service and Fire Service cast their ballots in the local government elections. Details from Alexis Rodney.
The elections were conducted at 63 locations across the country. In Georgetown, InfoHub visited the polling stations at the GDF headquarters, Kampa in Ghana, Police Headquarters, Ivleri, and the Brickdam Police Station, where voting exercises were ongoing. Voting commenced at 6 a.m. At the police headquarters, InfoHub spoke with Chief Elections Officer Keith Lowenfield.
I think we started pretty well this morning, and the day is continuing apace as expected, except to say at the 20 locations the ballot officers would have visited. The amount of ranks expected are not there in their numbers. No doubt they may very well show up later in the day.
There were some minor hiccups that will easily be ironed out, the CEO said. These included the names of officers not being on the list in Mahdia. GCOM's Public Relations Officer Yolanda Ward said similar issues were found in Georgetown.
I want to provide that clarity on that particular issue. One is that for us at GCOM, the names of the officers were provided to us by the respective discipline services, that is the Guyana Police Force, the Guyana Defense Force, and the prison services. So that list of officers that they provided to us, that is what we were able to work with. So if there is an omission of a name on a list for discipline services today, that was not an error from GCOM. Maybe that could have been from the submission from the respective offices.
Ranks unable to vote today will be able to do so on November 12. GCOM's Chairman Justice James Patterson said he is confident of the work done so far by the Elections Commission, especially in the area of voter education. He too foresees a larger turnout by the end of the day. A total of 7,918 officers are registered to vote countrywide.
Reporting for InfoHub, Alexis Rodney.
2 Lusignan prison escapees are still being hunted by the joint services. Paul Goraya and Kubina Stevens are on the run. Report any information you may have to 220-4173 or the nearest police station. You have been watching InfoHub Recap, where we share the past week's top stories. Goodbye.